everyone. I hope you're having an awesome day so far, a great Thursday. I am jumping on here early today because I'm actually getting ready to head to the airport. I am going to Miami this weekend. I am spending a day with one of my clients. We're going to have a day intensive, which I'm super excited for. And my best friend's baby is turning 1. So I'm going down there to celebrate his first birthday as well, which I'm super stoked about. So we are talking about business and beliefs early today, and we are talking about detachment. I titled this "Detachment is a Bitch" because it is one of the most important things you can do in your business, and I think it is also one of the toughest things to master, but once you do, it can change everything. So I want to talk about that today and how to master it, how to make it work for you, what it even means, and why it's important to your belief system. Okay, so what does detachment even mean? So being detached from an outcome means I believe that this outcome will happen, and also I'm not so attached to it that I have anxiety around it all the time, that I'm thinking about it all the time, that I can't get my thoughts off of it, right? And in business, sometimes we become so attached to outcomes, right? We make a goal like have a 10K month, get 5 clients, whatever the thing is, right? And we just get so attached to that goal, and every day we're like, am I going to hit the goal? Am I going to hit the goal? And really, as you do that, you're pushing it further and further away. Because what you're saying, in effect, is I don't believe that this will show up, right? The more attached I am to it showing up, the more I don't actually believe it will show up. So working on detachment means I'm really attached to my piece of the puzzle, meaning like I'm really attached to the work I need to do to show up and make this happen. And also I just believe it's going to happen. So I don't need to be super attached to the outcome because that's a done deal. I'm just going to show up and do my part, right? So let's think of an example. An example of that might be like, I just can't think. Your refrigerator. This is a terrible one, y'all, but I just can't think of anything better at the moment. Like, you know it's going to keep your food cold. Like, you know that if you put food in there, it will stay, like, cold and fresh, and that you can go in there and get something whenever you want. Like, you are not spending most of your day going, God, I really hope, like, that food doesn't spoil, and I hope it's good when I go in there later, and I'm really attached to having fresh chicken and vegetables when I go to make my dinner tonight. Like, you just don't worry about it because it's going to happen, and so it does, right? You need to get like that toward your outcomes in your business, right? Where you're not spending all day thinking about like, am I going to get that 10K month? Am I going to do it? Is this thing going to do it, right? Just like you're not obsessing over, is your fridge going to keep your food cold until you go to make it for dinner tonight, right? So you can apply that to like a million other things. That was a very terrible example. But right, you can apply that to so many things in your life where you just believe that it's going to work out, right? Where you just believe that result is going to show up, and so it does, and you have no anxiety around it, right? And so that's why so often the more attached we are to something, the less likely it is to show up. And I see this with myself and my clients all the time. The more a client is showing to me that they are super attached to an outcome, the less likely it is to show up every single time, because the energy they're putting out is, I don't believe this is possible. I don't believe this is possible. I don't believe this is possible, right? The more you're like, whatever, right? Like, it'll show up. I just believe it, and now I'm going to do the things to get there. I'm just going to act as if it's coming, and I'm going to show up and do the things to make it come. The easier it is to create results. I'm going to share with you a funny story that just happened to one of my clients around this. Is she was really freaking out over her Black Friday deal, right? Like, just, are people going to buy? Are they going to buy? Why aren't people buying? Like, really so attached, so in it, like checking her email too much, just paying attention, being really vigilant. Like, is this working? Are people buying? Are they interested? All that kind of stuff. And she reached out to me and was like, nobody's buying. What's going on? I am freaking out. And I was like, oh, like, you're not even going to sell them now because you were just so flippin' attached, right? So attached. And she was like, oh God, you're so right. Like, I just need to let this one go. And we talked about how Black Friday is really noisy and you really can't use that as the barometer to gauge if your offers are great or not. And anyway, long story short, she was like, I'm just going to take the page down. Like, I'm just really attached. I'm not going to worry about it and I'm going to just be done with it. And she thought she took the page down and ended up making a sale from it, I think, too, actually. And so it was just really funny because it was the perfect example of getting detached, right? Like when she thought she took the page down, there you go, she was detached, right? There was no part of her that was like, oh my God, are these sales going to come through? And then they did. So that happens so often in our business. And so the number one question that everyone's going to have around this is, well, how do I get detached? Because like, I really need that money, or I really need that client, or I really need this business to work out, right? And the thing is, you get attached to what you can control, right? So you get attached to how you're showing up. You get attached to being consistent and committed and doing the work. And you let the rest take care of itself. Do the work like the result is going to materialize, and it will, right? Do the work thinking the whole time, what if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? And chances are pretty good that it's not going to work, right? So I want to give you an example for me and my business. I've been talking about this a lot this week, but just because this was like a really big belief shift for me. But when I started my business, the first, okay, so I was kind of naive. I've said this a few times. And the first month I was like, okay, where's my client? Like, where are all my clients? And I had some clients locally too. So I just thought I would jump online. It'd be super freaking easy, right? So I was very much like, all right, where's my client? And then it occurred to me after I had been doing it for a little bit, and I think I got one client, and I was like, okay, like this might take a little longer than I thought, but like, here's what I'm really committed to, is showing up and doing the work. And I know that this is going to work out for me, and it's not a matter of if, it's just when. And so here I go. I'm just going to show up, and that's what I'm going to get committed to. Everything shifted. I had a huge month, my second month in business. And it was because I just made that shift where I was like, oh, okay, like this is possible for me, and I know it's going to happen, but like maybe it's not the exact timeline that I thought. Like maybe it's not going to be 30 days, right? And so if I can just chill and do the work, I think it'll show up. And it just totally did. And that's basically how I've run my business ever since then, is like, what do I need to do to get what I want? And then I'm going to assume that it's going to show up from there, right? And that doesn't mean it works perfectly 100% of the time. Sometimes I get in my own head, totally, right? And always, that's when results get harder to get, right? Always. A really good example of this was recently when I sold value-centered sales. I was really in my head about that for a little bit because I actually had not wanted to do a group program for a while because I just am super passionate and really believe in one-on-one and all these other excuses I had in my head, right? I'm not even going to go into them because it's not worth it, but I had some serious resistance to doing a group program. And also I knew that I needed to. I knew that value-centered sales was something I absolutely had to share. I knew my audience wanted it. I knew that I was getting to the point where I was only able to take on maybe one more client a month. And so I just wasn't serving my audience in the way I wanted to. So I had to really show up for it. But here's the thing. I was super attached to what that looked like because I had so much resistance around it. There were points where I definitely didn't show up and sell in the way that I should or could have. There were points where I just was like, yeah, I think I'm good. My OBM like reminded me a couple times, hey, like you're in a launch, so do you want to write an email or no? And here's the thing, like my results reflected that. I mean, listen, I'm not bummed about the results. It's just, I mean, I had 10 people in there. That was great, right? But certainly with a community and list this size, I could have gotten more. And what it really showed me was that when I get attached to a thing and when I get in resistance around a thing, always, always my results will reflect that to me. Now, I ended up doing value-centered sales, and it was so fun and so amazing, and I have no resistance around groups anymore. It was beautiful and such a fun experience. And here's the thing. Next time I sell out a group, or next time I offer a group, it's going to sell out like crazy. In fact, I'm offering a group to my clients, some of my clients that are graduating from my 6-month program, and that's selling out like crazy, right? Like, because I no longer have resistance or attachment to the group thing, right? So what I really want you to look at in your business is, if I follow my attachment, can I track my results, right? Amazing highlights. The more attached that I'm, the less. Oh, you're quoting me. I love it. That's hysterical. Thank you. Thank you, Barb. Those are so funny. That's awesome. I like the trophies next to them too. So, you know, I think it's just about like knowing that resistance and attachment are always going to come up, but like, how are you going to manage it, and how are you going to push through it, right? And how are you going to really look at what are the things I need to be showing up for, and how do I get attached to those things and not these other things, right? I was talking to one of my clients yesterday about goal setting, and I was telling her that what I really wanted her to set goals around were the ways in which she could show up. Because setting an arbitrary goal at the beginning of your business, like whatever, I'm just going to make something up, get 1,000 people on my list. Well, like, do you have stats around that? Like, do you know what your list has traditionally grown at? Do you know when you put out an opt-in, how many people typically get it? Are you going to do advertise it? Like all of this stuff, right? And so you're just creating this random number of like, yeah, 5 clients, 1,000 people on my list, whatever. And it means nothing, but it can be something you use against yourself, right? Like, so if you get 885 instead of 1,000, you're not going to celebrate that. You're going to say I didn't hit my goal, right? So sometimes a goal becomes something to use against yourself. Traditional goals in that way. If you set a goal that's like, put out 2 new opt-ins this month, advertise them 3 times a week, etc., suddenly you're the only one in control of hitting your goal, right? You're it. Your goal is 100% dependent on you, and that will get you the results and also keep you detached from them, right? Because you're not chasing this arbitrary number. You're committing to showing up and doing the thing that will get you to a good number, that will get you to the number that you're supposed to be at, right? So the other question that I think comes up a lot for people is, what if I really do need the money? Like, how do I get detached there? And what I'll say is this. I think you get really attached to how you show up, just like we've been talking about, as number 1. And number 2, I think you figure out, are there other ways that I could get the money? Like, can I be in my business not super attached to the results and showing up and doing the work if I don't get this money? If the answer is no, honestly, I hate to say this because I feel like a lot of people are going to take this the wrong way, but like, get a part-time job, do what you got to do, figure out how you're going to have that base so that you're not in freak out mode 24/7, and then build your business from there, right? Because when you are so attached, when you're in freak out mode 24/7, when it feels like every last moment is stress and anxiety and about results and about if I'm going to get the client. I mean, it's just so hard to operate from that place, and it's really, really, really hard to create results from that place. Now, if you can be in that place and know you need the money and still just get really attached to showing up, I think that's great. And I think it's totally possible. Like, I know a lot of people that have built their businesses in that way. I'm by no means saying like everyone should go get a part-time job. I'm just saying, you know yourself enough to know if you're going to be freaking out all the time and so attached, like, you know, every discovery call, you're just so attached to it that you can barely breathe, and it has to be this client, and it has to be this thing, and if she says no, I can't pay my electric bill. Well, fuck, like, it's gonna not feel good to you or the client. It's gonna be so hard to get results that way. And then what's going to happen is you're going to keep being in that space of, see, I don't think I can make it happen. I can't make it happen. I can't make it happen. What if I don't make it happen? And guess what? You're probably going to struggle to make it happen. Yes, the stability of the other income is crucial. Totally, right? Sometimes that's the thing we have to do. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs look down on that, like almost like you're creating a safety net for yourself. And what I would say is you're creating a safety net for your beliefs, right? You're creating a system where you get to build on your beliefs and you get to be detached and create results from that. I was talking to one of my clients who, she has like a few income streams in her business, and one of them is super solid, brings her enough money to pay her bills and live very comfortably every month. And the other couple, she's just not really feeling anymore. And we were talking about, what a gift it is that she gets to let go of the other ones, have this as her base, and then take the time to explore what else she wants to do from there. And so now that she has that stability of that income stream, she gets the opportunity to practice detachment and play in other spaces and see what she wants to do, right? So for you, if that means a part-time job, if that means pursuing one of the income streams in your business, if that means, whatever the thing is, maybe it does mean leaping without a net for you and that you can still practice detachment. I know for me, I did kind of do that in some ways. Like I really had to let some of my, I had another business when I started this business, and I really had to let go of a lot of income in the other business to put my energy and effort towards this. And I was able to leap without a net and keep my mindset in check and stay pretty detached around that. But honestly, like it was tough and I really had to work at that. So it's not that you can't, it's just also that, know yourself enough to know, what do I need to stay detached in these situations? I totally spent a lot of time feeling the fail when I re-entered my career until I realized the gift of it all. So true. Right? Like it really is so amazing to have that opportunity to be detached in whatever way works for you, right? And so sometimes like having the part-time job or still having the job as you build your business is the greatest gift you can have, because you get to be detached. But here's the thing with detachment. It's not just about like, I have a part-time job, so I'm detached from if I make money because whatever, I have money coming in over here. It's more like, I know this is going to work out for me. I know it, like I know that my refrigerator is going to keep my food cold until dinner, right? I know it on such a deep belief level, and I'm willing to be patient and detached while it shows up. That's the key, right? So it's not getting the job and then going, see, I'm fine. Now I don't have to worry about this. I'm detached. It's like, see, I have this foundation and I know, this is going to work out. And so I'm just using this as a jumping off platform while it does. You can also make different sacrifices. For example, I don't have a second job, but I'm pushing back on moving in with my boyfriend while I grow my business. Exactly, right? So that for you, like, it's like, I know, this is going to happen, right? But I'm going to be patient and detached and put off this thing while I let it show up. Joy was just talking about this today with someone. Love it. Good. That's awesome. Yeah. So whatever detachment looks like for you, but make sure that you know it's about both. I know this will work, and also I am willing to not put a lot of parameters around it. Like, I don't need it to work tomorrow and look like 2 clients, right? I just know that it's going to work, and I know that I'm going to keep showing up. So as all this goal setting craziness is happening this time of year, what I would love to ask you to do is look at, are you setting goals as a way to get really attached to something and then to kind of use it against yourself? Or are you setting goals as a way to get attached to the part of the process that you can control, right? Almost all of my clients are really high performers. I'm definitely a high performer myself, right? And so sometimes the goal is like the weapon that we wield against ourselves, right? I'm going to set this goal, and then I'm going to be pissed that I'm not good enough the whole time. But, I'm going to set like a goal that doesn't make sense for me maybe, or that I have no real data around that says I should get 5 clients, or I should get 10 clients, or I should get 100 people on my list, whatever the thing is. Make your goals something that you know you can achieve, because here's the thing. The other part of detachment is self-trust, right? So why can I be detached? Because I trust myself that I'm going to keep fucking showing up, right? I can be detached because I know if I don't get a client tomorrow, that's not going to stop me. I can be detached because if I don't get a client in a month, I know that's not going to stop me, because I know, this is the work I'm meant to do and this is what I'm meant to do, right? So that's the other part of it. If you can start building that self-trust, like when I set a goal, I show up and meet it. Hey, then as I set more and more goals and bigger goals, then I also know I will show up and meet those. And so I develop that self-trust, that self-belief, right, in myself, that when I show up, things will happen. Change occurs, right? And that I will keep showing up. I think that's another reason a lot of people get really attached to something, is because they're like, if this doesn't work out, then I just know I'll probably quit, right? If this doesn't work out, whatever, some terrible thing is going to happen that makes me stop being able to be consistent. If this doesn't work out, here's a good one. If this doesn't work out, if I don't sell a package this week, I'm going to have to go get a job, and then this will never happen. What if it's like, I'm going to have to go get a job and I know I will keep showing up, and then I will leave that job once this happens? It's just about trusting yourself that you're going to keep showing up and doing the work to create the things that you want, and not getting so attached to that, to what they look like or how they show up for you, right? That is my whole point of Someday Eradicator. Instead of waiting until someday, do the process work now alongside the other things which will achieve the bigger intention. Yeah, totally. Kara talks, her title is Someday Eradicator, and she talks all the time about how we put off so many goals till someday. So that's totally it, right? It doesn't have to look perfect. Like, it doesn't have to be your perfect time to start something, but you'll keep putting it off if that's what you're waiting for, right? You'll keep putting it off if everything needs to be perfect and you need to be creating every result you put your mind to, right? Self-trust, yes. So really also forming that trust with yourself, that I not only know that this is going to work out, like I know that I'm going to keep showing up for it. I think that's a huge piece for people, and I think it's the piece of detachment that scares a lot of people, in that they don't want to take full personal responsibility for that, right? They want this goal to be this thing that like hopefully will be given to them, or that luck will strike and it'll show up for them or whatever. And that's why we get so attached to, because it feels out of our control, right? It's very easy to get super attached to things that feel out of our control, like getting the client to say yes, right? Like, oh, I can be so attached to that because I'm just not sure, and hopefully the universe will bring that to me, right? Ugh, so much giving away of your power. So much of detachment is about staying in your power and knowing that you trust yourself enough that you're on a journey and you're going to keep showing up for that journey, right? So I hope this was helpful. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. How are you practicing detachment? What have you done to practice detachment? And when you do, how do results show up for you? Actually, this is a funny story really quick. One of my clients, we actually tracked it, like literally tracked it. When you hit this goal, were you attached to it? When you got this client, were you attached to it? When this negative thing happened in your business and you tried to sell this thing and it didn't work out, were you attached to it? And it was just really, really funny, because her sales literally ebbed and flowed based on how attached she was to them at any given moment. And it was just such an eye-opening experience for her, because she was like, oh my God, I'm doing this all to myself, right? And that's the thing about businesses. Sometimes everything can seem out of our control, but most of the time it's all in our control, right? Yes, it's something I'm talking about my challenge tomorrow, that we can detach from the goal and instead make commitments like showing up or taking action, because we can control that and not the other stuff. So true. So true. And it's not about like, how can you be a control freak, right? Because I am personally, I would like to say a recovering control freak. Like, I would really like to use that term right now because that would feel super good, but I don't think I've yet earned the recovering badge. I am in recovery. I would say I am not recovered. But I definitely lean toward control freak, let's say. And so I have to caveat this, that it is not about being a control freak, right? Like, figure out all the things you can control and then control them as well as you can. It's more like be available to surrender some of it, like, and show up for the good things, right? Gabby Bernstein always says that when she prays or works on manifesting or visualizing or whatever, she always says this or something better. And I love that because I think that's part of it too, is like, you know, okay, I want to sign 2 clients this month, and that or something better. Like, how can I be available for all of the things to show up and do the part, you know, do my part of the work? Ditto to Kate's saying ditto to control freak. Yeah. So I would love for you guys to use this in your business. I would love for you to think about it in your goal setting. Look back at your business and see, when have I been the most detached, and was that the time when it was hardest to get results? And am I really attached to something right now in my business? And how can I work on getting detached from that so that I leave room for results to show up, right? So I hope you all have a beautiful day. Love that. This or something better. I pray like that too. No more putting God in my little box. Oh my gosh, so true, right? Like, we just limit everything. So I think goal setting does that in some ways too. I'm not trying to make the case against goal setting here, you guys, but seriously, sometimes it can be something that hurts and not helps you, right? So thinking about getting out of the how, I think it's a big part of it too. So like Kate was saying, like, not my little box of how this has to show up, but like, let me be available for it in any way. Hey, Lindsay, when I set money goals, I never forget to write them down. Oh, I never forget to write them down with a plus sign at the end, because I understand that what my mind thinks is possible is not even a tiny percentage of it. So true, right? This or something better, this money or a plus sign, right? And so again, like, I'm not detached. I'm like really available for you to bring me what you got, right? And I'm really attached to showing up for my piece of that pie. So I hope that helped. I hope you guys all look at that in your business. Work on the detachment piece, because honestly, it will make all the difference in the world. And let me know what your questions are. I am going to go head to the airport, and I hope you all have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon. Oh, and I'll be on here tomorrow too. I'm actually doing a day intensive tomorrow with a client. So I'm going to see if I can rope her into joining me too. So hopefully we'll both be on here tomorrow and talking to you a little bit more about business and beliefs. So I will talk to you all soon. Have a great day. Bye.